Dear colleagues, my name is Boris Dmitriev and I am a Ukrainian violin maker. I have dedicated a significant portion of my life to researching and discovering the lost techniques used by the great Italian masters to create their immortal works of art. As I approach 78 years of age, I am pleased to share with you an instrument that fully embodies the best examples of the legendary Cremona school. In other words, I would like to showcase a violin that is virtually identical in quality to the works of the great Antonio Stradivarius. I have a new instrument that is covered with a beautiful ruby lacquer. The shooting will take place outdoors, without the use of artificial light. I will record a video from different angles using a regular phone, and you can scrutinize it to draw your own conclusions. Please pay close attention to the light reflexes, as genuine Italian lacquer is highly diverse and appears to be alive. Observe how the colors of the lacquer blend and change, creating a nacre effect that experts recognize as the shimmering of nacre in the depths of the lacquer. Modern violin varnish can closely match the color, transparency, and shine of good masters, but it always looks the same from any angle and under any lighting. In contrast, vintage Italian lacquer has a unique dynamism and unpredictability. At certain angles, it seems to burst into flames or fade to bright colors, giving it a distinct and unmatched character. It's worth noting that once it's applied, vintage Italian lacquer cannot be fixed or altered. It's hard to imagine anything more beautiful and ornate than antique Cremona lacquer. Its moving color palette radiates joy and calls for a celebration of life. The difference between Stradivarius lacquer and modern violin lacquer is like the difference between a living and a dead person. On the surface, everything looks the same, but in one case, there is a celebration of life, and in the other, there is an unrequited emptiness. You can never stop admiring this lacquer. It's like a woman I can't get enough of. Every time I hold the instrument, I feel like I'm touching something out of this world. There's no earthly comparison to its mysterious beauty and artistic perfection. It is a challenging task to create the classic Italian varnish by yourself. For over 250 years, people have attempted to uncover the technology used by the miracle workers of Cremona, but without success. The closest anyone has come to understanding the secrets of Stradivarius was Sacconi. However, even he made a few crucial mistakes that prevented him from replicating the successes of his beloved idol. If you are interested in discovering the secrets of Italian primer or varnish, I suggest you begin with the writings of Sacconi. He has been a guiding star and spiritual inspiration to me. Without his famous book, I would not have achieved the results I have. Sacconi was a connoisseur and protector of authentic Italian violin-making culture, making him an excellent advisor for anyone seeking to learn more. Experts know that Stradivarius lacquer is made from a mixture of colorless lacquer and small, highly pigmented crystals. These insoluble crystal fractions are responsible for the unique beauty and vibrant color range of Stradivarius lacquer. The artificially made crystalline pigments intricately refract and reflect light, creating the illusion of iridescent mother-of-pearl to the audience. I have successfully replicated the classic Italian violin-making technique, which involves using a legendary Italian wood impregnation primer to achieve perfect acoustics. This primer alters the physical properties of the wood, providing a superior mode of resonant emissions. Anyone who denies the importance of this technique is simply uninformed. It is truly astonishing that a violin maker was able to achieve results at home that entire academic institutions of chemistry could not. However, the facts speak for themselves. Today, you can see for yourself that I have managed to grow intensely colored and completely transparent crystals that create an incomparable optical effect of the mysterious Cremona lacquer. I believe that it is highly unlikely for an Italian violin maker to be able to grow colored crystals through their efforts. This process is lengthy and involves multiple steps. In order to obtain Italian colored pigment, one must go through a series of chemical transformations, which require at least a dozen ingredients, specific temperature and time requirements, and a deep understanding of chemistry or even alchemy, along with sophisticated equipment. To put it simply, creating a classic Italian lacquer is much more technologically complex than the carpentry work involved in making a new violin. I don't want to go into further detail on this topic. However, for those who are interested, please visit my personal website, www.borisdmitriev.com, and read the article titled The Violin Master's Monologue. In this article, I provide a comprehensive and cohesive explanation of my understanding regarding the actual manufacturers of the primer or varnish. I am sorry, I am not able to provide any suggestions about the technology of making crystal pigments for violin varnish. However, I can offer to sell you the required amount of colored pigment for varnishing not only violins, but also other musical instruments. I particularly prefer to work with the owners of classic Italian rarities who want to give their instruments a pristine look. You are free to choose any color you like, as there are no restrictions on my part. There are also no restrictions on the choice of lacquer mix, as colored crystals go well with any lacquer. In my experience, the best results are achieved with oil varnish, which I suggest you consider. The cost of crystalline pigments needed to varnish one violin, if well outweighed, would be $500. Contact information is available on my website. In conclusion, I would like to invite you to my workshop where I will demonstrate my experience with Italian colored pigment. The process for making colored varnish is quite simple. First, I take a jar of coloring pigment and scoop out a small amount of crystals with a spoon. Then, I put the crystals in a ceramic mortar and pour in a small amount of alcohol varnish. I rub the mixture thoroughly with a pestle until it becomes a smooth liquid. To get a good result, I work with small portions and periodically pour the finished colored varnish into a separate bowl. Then I take a good quality brush and make test strokes on glass or board. By adjusting the weight ratio between the colored crystals and the colorless varnish, I can get a coating of the desired color concentration. The final color depends on personal preference. I also have the option of working with a flute or airbrush. That is all I wanted to show and say for today. I offer my deepest respect and good wishes.